Welcome to Harmonium LA, the podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Heedy Gandolfi, emotional wellness expert, founder of Harmonium LA and published author. The world needs healing now more than ever. My goal is to bring you inspiring conversations, tips, and techniques that will help you build a sustainable healing toolkit. The Harmonium LA podcast is the only resource you will need to slow down, stop searching, and start healing. Welcome back to another episode of Stop Searching and Start Healing. So my guest today is joining us all the way from London. She's an amazing woman. She has been on her own healing journey for the last few years and has now created a platform and a business where she is helping and supporting other people moving through their own healing journey. Let me give you a bit of an introduction to her, and then we will bring her into the show and, as usual, let her do the talking. Donna Marie is the founder of the Leadership Yogi. She helps bring an end to the overwhelm, procrastination, and whirlwind of your mind to unblock and unlock your full creative potential and power so you can confidently embody your expertise and up-level and evolve. Donna's expertise allows you to access your body, mind, heart intelligence and harness consistent and profound breakthroughs for life and business transformation. So, please join me in welcoming Donna to today's show. Donna, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today, all the way from London, which I love.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, of course. Absolute pleasure. I mean, it's so great. I just love the way that the universe works because we met just, beautifully and just divine timely wise, I guess, just through a mastermind that we're both in together. I mean, you over in the UK, me here in America. And it just was beautiful, just the connection and just the journeys that we have been on and continue to move on was just, just beautiful.
Absolutely. And I'm just getting tingles now. It's like such a greatness when that happens and just alignments. And it's just beautiful when it happens. It's just so organic and natural and real. Love that.
And that's how it should be, right? It should be organic. It should be easy. Things should just flow into our lives at the right time with the right people and just to be able to support and grow together. So I just think that's magic. So let's talk about you because that's why we're here, of course. And I just love your story because you have a great backstory. You worked for many, many years in theatre, in the arts. You worked on some phenomenal shows in the West End of London. I think you worked on, was it Swan Lake? Phantom of the Opera. You really did have such a great repertoire of things that you did with your career. But now obviously you're doing something completely different, but still being able to pull from that theatrical background. So why don't you just talk to us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I was always a creative from birth. I knew I was always a little bit eccentric and a little bit out there, and theatre school was just kind of my perfect place to explore and express and get dirty, not be afraid to have paint on me and just explore my creativity. It was the only thing I was ever good at school was art. It was where my flair was. It was where my greatness was in a way. I didn't really see it at that time. It was where I could heal, release and do all that stuff. And when I went to theatre school and used to work with the actors and spotlighting them and painting the stage and creating in this constant stage of creating, you learn so much about yourself and you learn so much about people and all the behind the scenes stuff. It's like behind the scenes of the mind, but behind the scenes of creation. And there is so much magic and mystery and any kind of to think about how actually significant that whole journey was in my life now, and how actually I do draw elements, so much of that into my work. And it's just an incredible place to explore. And it's all about acceptance. It's like you can elaborate, you can just be you, and there's no judgment. And it's a beautiful place to express and show you who you are.
Well, that's it. You can be whoever you want to be, and you have permission to be out there and to be in all your glory and weirdness and eccentricism, if that's even a word, to be and do, and to have that, not have any boundaries. But I guess as well, sometimes, because then I think you went through a big healing journey yourself, right? And I think you find that sometimes was a way to escape from what was really going on emotionally for you.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in theatre school, I didn't even realize there were really issues. I didn't. I didn't really realize there was stuff going on, because I was in that kind of a sleep cycle of, I know why I'm loving being here, and it gave me fulfillment and I felt free. But I was actually quite burnt out, like after uni and after working in that industry for many years. I realized actually I was actually quite closed down. And that got me onto the kind of path of healing, and wanted to come out of the darkness, because I was always in the darkness, and having to actually get in my own spotlight and find my own path. So it's just interesting how things kind of switch and change.
And how did that look for you? What prompted you? Do you remember the point at which you said, okay, something needs to change. I'm sick of being in the dark. I need to find the light. I need to move forward to be this beacon. What do you remember that time?
Yeah, there was a time when I was working for a particular theatre. I was freelancer. I was working 16-hour days, probably more than that. So I would be up at 6 a.m. there, setting up the stage. Some of the days I'd be there on my own, going up ladders and painting things, and like there was no one around. And I was like, this is a pretty risky job. Like if something ever happened, and it was lonely. It was like there's this incredible place of creativity, but it's lonely. So I was like incredibly lonely in the work that I did, and I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And it just got to a point where I got so burnt out, because I was doing these long hours. I'd be there all day, every day, and I just didn't have that time to actually live a life, because it was always work. It's pretty much like corporate creativity. It's like corporate creativity.
Yeah.
And just being in that space of, I'm stuck. I was like, I need to get out. I'm burnt out multiple times. And I was exhausted. It was exhausting being a creative.
How was it manifesting? Was it manifesting just in exhaustion, or did you have other issues that came up as a result of it?
Yeah, I was like fatigued, incredibly fatigued. I started to get incredibly depressed, like the second wave of depression, second wave of anxiety. My like confidence level was zero. I was complete opposite of what I was now, and it was manifesting in so many ways. I remember just like wanting to not do anything, and no energy, no soul. Like I just channeled all that energy into the work that I was doing, pretty much similar to the corporate world, and just in a different way. And I was absolutely just burnt out and fatigued. Wasn't eating. I went from not eating enough to eating loads. And my weight fluctuated up and down, because I was just like comfort eating, like emotionally eating, so many things. Actually fell into the wrong relationships, just got into bad things,
Which you do, because you just don't know how else to cope. So it's just a coping mechanism for you. And then of course, coping in those ways with those strategies that are not helpful or beneficial send you more into a lack of self-confidence and lack of self-esteem. And so when you couple that with the exhaustion and the fatigue, you can't even begin to work effectively.
No. I was exhausted. I was on fumes every day.
So what did you do?
I decided to go like look at my life and analyze and be like, right, I'm ready to change. Like this cannot get any worse. It cannot get any worse, because I was having a breakdown with my partner that I was with at the time. It got so bad. This was breaking away, and I felt like this is needing to change. What did I actually take action on? I remember realizing it was the relationship that kind of had to break before I break away from the industry. It was actually my relationship that broke me away from that pattern of burnout. And I was just like, things just need to change. So I just stopped and I started again, a fresh new beginning.
I bet that was so scary for you though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was terrifying. So I was like, I don't know any different.
Right.
What do I do now? It's all I ever know. Like, had to retrain again. I was like, God, I've already done all, and obviously live with all that resentment of I've wasted all like 4 or 5 years at a theatre school, and now it's all gone down you're in that cycle of just wasting that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
But
think so many people can relate to that. You know, when you go through that, you put your heart and soul into something, it becomes your life, your world. And then all of a sudden it's
yes,
just not working, but you're in that space of, well, what do I do? I've given everything to this, but it's not fulfilling. It's not lighting me up. I'm not being the person that I am here to be. And so to have to really take stock of that and to make that big jump and, you know, to have that relationship, I suppose, be the straw that broke the camel's back for you to make
yeah,
that change was, like you say, terrifying but necessary. And I think probably a lot of
yeah.
listeners can relate to that.
Yeah, I hope so. I believe so. And like, if anyone, even if you're not in that industry of art, the artistic industry is mentally challenging.
Mm,
Like a lot of artists are mentally broken.
yeah.
Like they just are, because they're in that go, 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 masculine, like create, 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 and they never get time to actually breathe
Mm,
or actually just like, because it's very challenging.
mm,
It's very demanding. You have to have high energy all the time,
mm.
all the time. And that is physically draining your body.
Yeah.
Um, but it was like, I look back at that and I'm actually so grateful for that experience. It taught me so much,
Mm.
learn from these things.
Well, that's it. And now you've flipped your mindset. So instead of being resentful towards
Yeah.
it and, you know, looking at it as a, oh my gosh, what a waste, it's now grateful for those experiences because it did help propel you into what you're doing now. It put you on that path of finding a career, not only that's fulfilling emotionally, mentally, but gives you the capacity to be able to have the time to heal and to function at your optimum.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It's a blessing in disguise, as I like to say. There's many little blessings in disguises.
That's it. And it's using your mindset to remember that, because so often we don't. We always shoot to the negative when really there's always a silver lining somewhere. We just don't necessarily see it at that point. It just takes a bit of time to go
Yes.
inwards. So you retrained. So talk to us about what did you do, and now what you do some amazing things right now. So talk to us about what that journey looked
Yeah.
like.
Oh, it's like a gap that I can't remember. And maybe I've disassociated, but I absolutely retrained. As I was like, what's next? I just literally asked the universe. And I wasn't spiritual back then. I was not into any of this. I was like very skeptical. But I put a question out. I said, what's next? There must be more. And then I just kept looking at like reflexology online. Reflexology came up.
Okay.
And I was like, keep looking at reflexology. What's coming on? And so I retrained in, I decided to take the leap of faith and train in complementary therapies. And I was like, this is amazing. I was like, this is so good. This is what I want to do. Flourished. Confidence was just like up through the roof. Um, I was going to a lot of yoga classes for a long time. I always wanted to be a yoga teacher, which is where the yoga stuff kind of came in.
Mm.
But I thought I wasn't good enough. So I thought, right, I'm not going to do the yoga stuff for now because I'm not bendy enough or flexible enough and all those beliefs, right? So I ended up doing the massage first.
Mhm.
But that was brilliant. It was a brilliant experience. I just set my business up straight away after I certified. I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I just set the business up. I didn't even know how to set my own business up, but I just did it somehow.
But that's the beauty, because and I just want to go back to what you said, is that you didn't know, you stopped and you weren't really spiritual at that point, but you just asked the question. And I think that's the key
Yes.
thing. And, you know, trusting in spirit and source, in the universe, and just saying, okay, you need to guide me, you need to help me right now, because I actually have no idea. And I think once you do that, if you're open to it, then that's when the magic really happens. And like you say, you just ended up, you know, not doing the yoga because you didn't believe that you were capable of it or flexible enough,
Mm,
you know, but then you went on the path of the massage, and then all of a sudden reflexology, and then your business just unfolded without even trying.
yes.
And that just
Yeah.
is such a great reminder that that's how this is supposed to work. When you are in flow, things will
Yeah.
just flow to you.
They did. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen. I'm just going to go with it anyway. So I jumped in the deep end and just like, yeah, I'm just going to go with
Mm.
it. So yeah, that's what I did. I retrained. I got obsessed with learning about healing and holistic therapies. I did like 21 courses because I was so obsessed.
Mm.
So I don't know why I did 21 courses. Don't ask me that. But I was just like, oh, what's next? What's
No,
next?
no.
What's next?
Yeah. But that's how you grow, you know, to immerse yourself in it, to study, to read, to listen, to just be so deep in the teachings, because that's the best way. And then you learn so much, not necessarily just about what it is you're studying, but about yourself in the process.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. You do. It's not about what you're learning. It's about like what you go through to actually get to where you are. So you
Mm.
learn so much about yourself and about people. I learned so much about people, human behavior. I was like, wow, like human behavior and my behavior, my like self. I was like, I didn't actually know myself.
And
It
that's
was
it.
just amazing.
And how can you help other people? Because obviously that's the work that you're doing now. If you
Yeah.
don't know yourself, if you don't see your own, your own issues or your own areas of weakness, so that you can then start to
Mm,
build on them and grow, then you can't really begin to help other people. So you have to go through that, because when you better yourself, you're bettering your clients and everybody else around you.
always, always. I think that's why I'm ever evolving. Like I cannot just stop learning. I'm one of these people. As soon as I learn, I have to implement and integrate and show other people. I just naturally have this. Got to share because I don't want people to be stuck in that space of like stuckiness and not being able to move because
Mm.
it's not nice. Like no, that everyone deserves to be to learn and to grow and have that opportunity to evolve
Yeah, absolutely.
and amplify, which is where the amplify like thing just kind of comes in, you know.
And so talk to us about Amplify. What is that?
So basically is to me it's about you really finding your true self-expression, your true voice, amplifying your words, how you can transmute that pain to your purpose, to your profit, how you can leave a legacy of change with your voice through your message, your voice through your image, your voice through the thoughts that you have and the wisdom that you go through, everything that you've been through, amplify it out, because
Mm.
there's going to be people out there that don't resonate with what you do or aren't interested, but there's going to be people there you could save their life, you could completely change their relationship, the way they're working. Like buying people's soul back for me is amplify. It's like buying the soul back that they've not reclaimed or they've not even acknowledged that's hidden inside. It's
Why
about
do you think that it is like that? Why do you think people struggle like that?
shame.
Mm.
Yeah, so much shame around like, oh, we shouldn't be elaborating ourselves, especially over in the UK. Like, I love my country, don't get me wrong, but we can be very like stiff upper lip, like, no, let's just stay still, let's just stay here. This is okay, I don't want more than what we should have. And, we tend to not go for things that we want because it's easier and safer to stay small than it is to grow and evolve, and it be painful because it's not easy to grow. It's like a painful experience, it can be. And I think people just, yeah, it's an easy way of staying still.
Yeah.
And we're scared of judgment, we're scared of shame, we're scared of addressing our own issues.
Mm.
I certainly was. When I was confronted with all my stuff, I was like, it's terrifying,
Mm.
you know. And that's it. I would say that's the main reason people just stay stuck,
I agree. I mean, I can relate to that definitely. And I've said before, I think had I not been in Los Angeles when I was dealing with all my stuff, I think my journey would have been very different, because if I'd have been still back in London, I probably wouldn't have had that confidence or access to the tools, because it's so much easier, I think, here, because people are more open to it, and there's slightly less judgment about some of these kind of unusual and left field ways to heal. Definitely in London, I think it's
Yes.
becoming a lot better. I think now, I think people are
Yeah.
starting to really realize that, yeah, life, you get one shot. It's not a dress rehearsal.
Yes.
There isn't another time that you can come back and redo. It's now. And so you
Yeah.
really, and I think that's what's the last 12 months definitely has done for a lot of people, right? Because we've had time to go inside
Yes.
and realize that this is not how it's going to be.
Yeah. It's been I mean, there's obviously lots of tragedy, but what comes from tragedy is that whole tragedy and comedy, right? And
Mm.
that's probably why I got tragedy and comedy on my back as a tattoo. I didn't even realize why I had it at the time, but you have these things and you look back and you realize there's reasons for these things. But yeah, what comes from tragedy is actually you can smile again. You can get that smile back on your face and you
Mm.
can shine your light on others and help them get their smile back.
Yeah.
and the world is slowly waking up. We're getting there. I feel
Mm.
like a huge conscious shift
Yeah.
in the last year. It's so many people that wouldn't class themselves as spiritual or any of that have just been like transforming their world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And you
brilliant to
have to have that.
see.
You have to have that combination, that balance of real life and spiritual life. You need to blend those together because it's all encompassing and it's so
Yeah.
essential right now. In order for us to ascend as a nation, as a society, globally, we have to start to embrace that into our practice
Yes.
every single day. Um,
Yes.
so what does Amplify look like? So it's an online program that you're running. So it doesn't matter where people are in the world. So
Yes.
anyone that's listening to this thinking, oh my gosh, Donna's amazing and I'm loving what she's hearing, but how do I even begin to access what she's offering?
Yeah. So basically, I work in two ways. It is very deep dive one-on-one. Like I do this, I have a 3-month mentorship, which is me like, are you ready for the Donna Marie treatment? Let's do it. Let's dive deep into everything that you do, your vision, your voice, your visibility. We're scaling your business so it's thriving on your terms. We can really amplify your message. We're turning your content into a creative way that tells a story so people understand what you're all about, and you can start to charge your value and leave a legacy of change. I have my 6-month program, which is a deeper dive. I do a lot of photography in that process, really journeying through body image, self-image, bringing that into your brand. I have my mastermind that's coming up literally in May, which is a beta test. First time I've ever done a mastermind. So this is something that I've been building. And that's open and available for anyone who's wanting to go on a deep dive of discovery and
So it's not
start their business.
personal transformation, it's business transformation too. So really people can join you
Yes.
for either one. They don't necessarily have to be in the business. It could be personal.
No. Yeah, it can be personal. I'm very much I work very intimately. So it's deep intimacy. It's like really getting into people's beliefs and everything that I talk about. It's not just about business. And I honestly, it's 80% inner work, 20% strategy anyway. So I have a client that's come to me, she's got a Reiki business, but really we're not focusing on that right now. We're focusing on her. So then after she's gone through that program, then we can work on her business.
Right.
Because you can't, the two and two are connected for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is, you've walked the walk. So from your own personal journey and from your own personal experience how important that deep inner work is before you can start to launch the business side of things.
Absolutely. Like just cutting all the pain of not doing this and doing that and don't do these things, and obviously you have to learn these things in order to grow, but just cutting out all the time wasted, cutting out all that time that I think I've probably wasted a lot of time. I wouldn't say it's ever actually wasted on a conscious level, really. It's not wasted time, but this is like an acceleration, but a deep getting you where you want to be a year from now. We can imagine where you could be a year from now if you just take that journey. Just
Right.
incredible.
I mean, look how far we've all come from this time last year. I mean, I think, so many of us have had that time and that journey, and it's amazing what difference a year can make.
Yeah, absolutely huge. And it's about commitment as well. It's like handing over of commitment, investment in self, not just for the person. It really is for me. I'm like, what about your children? And your children's children, and the legacy of generational worth, not generational wealth, because it is a scaling program to upgrade your business to high ticket and go beyond the wealth that you can't believe is possible. But it's not the be all and end all of the program. It's really about the generational passing on of worth to your children and the worth and the value that they can bring into the world for future generations.
And that's so important right now, looking at the youth of today, because they are the ones that we really need to turn to really move forward and to create the kind of world that we all want to be living in. And I think you make a good point with your health is the wealth. And I think the wealth of the business comes as a side effect to your health.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not separate. They can't be separate.
Yeah.
The separation is like, that's when people start to get stressed and overwhelmed and burnt out when they try and keep things separate. It's like, you are your business, you are your brand. Don't have to always be in it 24/7, but it is you.
Yeah.
Don't hide behind your business. just be you in your business, and then it will flourish and grow and flow and create greatness for people.
I love all that. And so you do bring so many of your elements from theatre into the business, into the program, so that really helps to amplify people with their confidence, because confidence is a muscle, right? You have to work it.
Yes. Yeah. Confidence is like real embodied confidence. It's taken me, I would say, like 10 years to actually fully embody confidence and what confidence actually feels like. Because you can have different levels of confidence, but until you really embody and feel it and it clicks into place, it's huge, really. It makes you unstoppable.
That's it, because it doesn't matter then, you don't care what people think. Of course, it's good to care what people think, but ultimately,
of course,
to really be able to be in your own power so that you can move forward on the mission that you are here to achieve, because that's all about. I think that's, it seems to be that more people I speak to, it's not so much about the grind anymore. It's about the flow and being in flow so that you can, live this really purposeful life.
Yeah. Living life on your terms. Like you're the rules. The hierarchy do not have the rules, nor do the gurus. Like you're your own guru. Become your own guru.
Yeah.
You know.
The second person that said that to me this week, actually. It's obviously a theme. The universe is trying to tell me something.
Maybe. Honestly, it's hilarious. I literally released the belief this week that the gurus have power over me. I had to test the belief on a deep level, and I had this belief that the gurus have power over me. That's why I had so much resentment to like the guru, like the hierarchy gurus, the social media gurus, all of this. And I was like, that's deep.
Yeah, but so many of us fall into that trap.
Yeah, we do. It's easy to do. It's easy to do. Yeah.
So what tips, I mean, a lot of the reason for this show is to highlight people like yourself, healing people that are bringing healing into the world so that we can all raise our levels and our vibrations moving forward. I mean, from a standpoint of what advice would you maybe give to people that are listening, that don't know where to begin or really struggling? I mean, what tips do you have that you can kind of implement that people can use daily in their practices?
Awareness is number one. Just being aware of like, right, well, what's working, what's not working. Let's clear away with what's not working so we can actually focus on what's really, really working, and then we can upgrade from that. And that is just like creating that awareness, whether it's awareness of a certain pattern or a belief that keeps coming up, or a certain manifestation that keeps showing up. Common awareness is key. Acceptance as well, full self-acceptance. Absolutely. It's like, how if we can't accept ourselves, and how to accept anyone else into our world? It's everything. I honestly believe everything's a mirror, and we have to, we are putting that out into the world, and we have to acknowledge what we want. Like, don't stay small. Like, don't just dream big. You don't need a pipe dream. You just need a process. And just working through, just trust yourself, because trust is huge. And write down all the areas where you feel like trust is not happening or things aren't happening, and just that process of journaling and writing out, like literally mind dumping everything down, like this isn't working, this is, and then you can go forward with a strategy that's awareness of what you need to work through.
I love that, because awareness is everything. And also as well, just not in knowing that it's going to take time, that it might not all happen overnight. So becoming aware and journaling and writing down and, having that dream, but knowing that it's not necessarily going to happen overnight, and that's okay. And being all right, but just continuing to show up every day to put the work in.
Take the pressure literally off your shoulders, and really actually it's not about pushing or forcing. And like I'm a recovering, I've still probably got elements of it, perfection paralysis, right? Perfectionist paralysis. It's that second guessing everything, and still making sure that, and that is still something that's that really deeply rooted, and you still got to work through it, clear it, and then you can pace things easier. Like doing less is more.
Oh yeah, Less is more.
Less
And you
is
know what?
so
Done
much.
is better than perfect. And I've
Yeah, exactly.
really lived by that so much, over the last couple of years building my business and practice, because we're so conditioned. If it's not perfect, I can't even begin to start. Well, if you don't start, it's never going to evolve, because where you start is never where you end up, ever. It's, but you have to
Absolutely.
begin somewhere. So that's a huge reminder, the perfection. There's
Yes.
so many people out there, recovering perfectionists, and, still dealing with
Yes.
that. And it doesn't matter. Just start and just be gentle on
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. I see it a lot of yoga teachers. They're most trying to be enlightened. Well, we're trying to reach enlightenment, right? But when we're getting so caught up on this kind of, oh, nothing's perfect, I haven't got this recorded yet, or this video isn't right. And we all do it because we're ingrained for everything to be perfect. But your students and your clients actually like to see the vulnerability of everything not being perfect. It makes them feel human.
Yeah,
And normalized.
Yeah, you don't want to be up on this pedestal where people feel like you're unattainable and out of reach. You need to still be relatable to people, especially when you're in people business like you and I are. People have to see that there's flaws and, imperfections in all of us, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching have you ever seen the Lady Gaga documentary? I don't know if you've ever seen it. I
No.
love her. She's just amazing.
Mm.
She's just so real and raw and vulnerable with her flaws. And she has a lot of flaws. I was like, wow, this woman's got a lot of flaws, and she's incredibly successful. She's a flipping millionaire.
Yeah.
And she's got all these flaws. And it just shows to show that even the most wealthy, rich, famous people have the same problems, because they're reaching different levels. And every time you go for a different level, you're going to have breakdowns and moments where you just want to pull your hair out.
Yeah.
It's human.
That's human nature. And so it's just being able to ride that wave and just trust, like you said earlier, going back to that, just trusting that you know what you're doing. You have everything that you need inside of you. It's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight, but just to take those first steps. If you're not happy, if you know that there's more that you need to do or be and to achieve, just taking that first step and making the decision, the choice.
Yeah, absolutely. We have choices every day. Make a new one. What do I choose today? What am I allowing myself that I'm not allowing? If I allowed it, life would be easy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And life should be easy. It really should. Sometimes it's challenging enough. And of course, it's always going to be something that we get hit with every single day, because that's life. But trying to allow versus force, I think, is a really great place to start too.
Yeah. And it's a muscle. That's a muscle.
Yeah.
Like any of that energy of trusting and allowing, and it takes time. You can't just be like, I'm going to allow it. It's going to be easy. No, it's hard. You have to work on it every day. I'm going to allow space. I'm going to trust. And you do things and go and do something else. Don't always. One of the worst things about business is that we just focus on doing this. We focus. We can get in that flow state, which is brilliant. But when we get in that flow state, we can end up forgetting that there's 20 hours gone in the day or whatever. And you're like, I haven't actually achieved hardly anything, because you're doing other things, you get distracted and all of that.
Yeah.
And we just need to actually kind of time batch what we're doing and cut out all those hours and just bring it into doing less, achieving more.
Yes, please. I'm in.
Oh,
thank you. So, I think that's it. It's just, doing less, achieving more, slowing down, getting into the flow, trusting that everything. And also, I think, what would this matter in 5 months, 5 years time? What does it really matter? If I choose to do this and it doesn't work out, who cares, really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Who are we trying to actually, I guess it's approval, isn't it? It's approvalness and all this stuff comes out. It's so deeply ingrained. If something falls and fouls, that's great. That means you can not do it again and you can try something else. How many choices are there?
Yeah. I just love this. I just love this conversation. I love your mindset. I just love, how you've just turned everything around and you're just living in your truth now and your power. And it just shows, it just oozes out of you. And I just
Oh,
love that. So thank you so much for
thank
joining
you.
us today. So you have the Amplify, we're going to put all of your details onto the blog page so people can find you.
Thank you.
You have your own podcast as well, which is phenomenal. So
Yay.
congratulations. That just recently
Thank
launched.
you.
So
Thank
amazing.
you.
So people can find you, they can tune in, they can subscribe, listen, download, do all of the things. And amazing. I'm so
Thank
grateful
you.
for your time today, Donna Marie. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And you. Thank you for having me on here and allowing me to share my, truths and expressing myself again. It's always an honor.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right,
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly hope that you enjoyed the show, and there is at least one thing that you can take away from today's episode that will help you build that sustainable healing toolkit. It would mean the absolute world to me if you would subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star review, and share this or any of the other episodes with somebody that you feel could really benefit by listening. I look forward to seeing you next time.